Hello, thank you for tuning in to this week's segment of readings. Um, this is on James 13 Wicca on YouTube, in case you're not seeing it there. For the main tarot, I'm going to use Wild Reflections Tarot deck by Spell. And there is a website on the back here. I believe it's there, yspell.com. It's in the center over here. There we go. If you're interested. That's what we have for the tarot deck. The oracle cards I'm going to use are Sacred... Okay, can't hold it. Sacred Traveler Oracle cards. It's hard to read it backwards. By Denise Lynn. Where's the websites for Denise? I think it's on the back of the book. So it's at the end of her paragraph where you see her face, that yellowish box. It's at the bottom of it. DeniseLynn.com if you want to check her out. And I also use dice. I use a 22-sided dice for the major arcana, substituting 22 for 0 for the Fool. 14-sided dice for the minor arcana, and a 4-sided dice to choose the element. It's from the Dice Shop. The website there is mathartfun.com. I don't know if it's showing up. I don't know if you can see mathart.com. Hopefully you can. mathartfun.com. Alright, that being said, if you'd like a reading from me, shoot me an email, james4astral@gmail.com. That's James number 4, astral@gmail.com. If you're interested in the donation information, that's below, same email. That being said, let's get into your reading. Hello, Libra. Thank you very much for tuning in to this week's read. These readings are valid for whenever you come to them. That being said, what do we have for Libra? So the first two cards out, the first one was the Hanged Man, the next one was the Magician. Hopefully if this is angled to your benefit, that can be a really good start, but it depends. That can be. What is it? Oh. Knight of Swords trying to come in here. Knight of Swords is trying to come in. There's some unpredictable or predictable. Somebody's trying to make it predictable. This isn't, though. Okay. Okay. So I feel a very manipulative energy trying to make this predictable. Somebody's really trying to impose their restrictions on this. Where is that coming from? I see grace and gratitude. I don't know. Let me just do the dice on it, because I keep feeling there's judgment in the past. I feel like somebody's trying to put a lot of control. Ace of Wands, half in, half out. So that's like this. This isn't the Ace of Wands. I don't have that one out here. It came up on the dice, though, which means some things move forward, some things don't. Some things were a good start, some things were not. And then the Libra card, which is the Justice card, is on the dice, which it's not here in the deck, but either people or person, seem to shut things down or really restrict what you were able to do. I feel like there's a lot of restrictions here. So hopefully this is going to change. But I do feel like this has really slowed me down, and it's really kind of kept me from doing what I want. It's all the question if you're enjoying this moment or not. I don't know why we're saying that, because it doesn't feel like you would be. So it has given you a moment to really do a lot of internal work, because outside like communication, things are not, in this situation, communication is not working to your favor. There's something else here with transformation keeps coming in, trying to happen. You have options, you have possibilities here. The question is, are you a fan of that or not? There are possibilities here. This situation is not being nice to you. It's just not. And that really, that's unacceptable. It's unacceptable. It feels like it's harsh to you. And it treats you as if you don't have anything of value to give to the situation. And I feel kind of blocked and very stuck in this. I keep seeing this card, so I'm going to show it. The Ten of Swords is showing up with how you're feeling about it. So if this situation is hitting, I feel like at some point it just got difficult and it just has not corrected. And it might be something where you've been trying to work with it and give it time, thinking maybe if I let enough time pass, things will go more my way. But I feel like I'm out here in the lurch. I'm in the middle of the night. Nobody's listening to me. I'm calling for help. Nobody's listening to me. I'm trying to get some supplies together. Nobody's helping me. I feel like I'm by myself constantly emotionally. Maybe you're physically around other people, but emotionally it feels like I'm out in the desert all by myself. I don't understand why people won't at least give me a chance. And it's just like, it feels like I'm barred for everything. Even though I can make a good point with people, it just seems like it goes nowhere. Okay, so this situation is calling for a change. One way or another, a change needs to happen. And I feel, again, that Knight of Swords coming in, but somebody's bringing you an opportunity. Don't discount something if it comes from a rotten source. Don't discount something if it comes from a rotten source. Research it on your own and decide for yourself. Somebody might be literally rude to you or mean to you and give you valuable information. I almost, because I keep seeing like somebody say something to my face like really rotten, like, oh, the janitors at this company are hiring. I bet you could do that without screwing it up. Like, I just feel like somebody would say something nasty, which is ironic. Janitors have a really tough job, and I believe a lot of them have to have a lot of skill to get things done, because I think they fix things too. Because janitors usually like double as maintenance workers, like fixing things. So it's almost like one of those things where somebody like would say it in a negative way, but it's kind of like, no, that takes a lot of work. Those people who do that job, that takes a lot of effort. Like, that's not like, or like, you know, when people talk about people who pick up trash, like as if it's a lower job, that's a job that nobody wants. And I hope they get paid very well, because they should. And the fact that they're willing to do that by itself is a value all by itself. I don't know why we're going down that road, but there you go. But the thing is, somebody might say something to you very derogatory or very rude, but it may, like, let it churn in your brain, not in the negative sense, but in like, I wonder if those are possibilities. Especially, for example, if this is a work thing and people are just not nice to you, and then somebody mentions in a very rude way that, oh, this place is hiring for, you know, street sweepers. Oh, okay. Take that home, research it on your own. Most companies have websites now. See if there's anything in the career tab. They may have said this job, but then you might find something that actually suits you the correct way. You know what I mean? Whatever your job might be or whatever. This also, I was nervous about going here, but this could also be a relationship of a different sort. It could be a romantic relationship, or maybe it was at one point. It may be something that worked at one point and it doesn't work now, and it's kind of like somebody is saying, hey, you know, I don't know why you're sticking with that person, Libra, because I would love to be with you. I'm not saying you should do anything unscrupulous, but I'm saying it might open the door for you to be like, no, maybe it's time to make a change. I don't know how to say this, because I've seen this happen with other people, and I don't think it was bad, where one person showed interest in another who was in a marriage, and the other person was in an unhappy marriage. They did not get together, as far as I know, but that kind of got that person thinking, like, I'm unhappy in this situation, and this is not, I don't have to settle for this. And then, you know, they got a divorce from that person they weren't happy with, and then a couple years later they started seeing this other person who originally gave them that interest. As far as I know, nothing happened out of order, but they needed that wake-up call to go, hey, you know, why am I putting up with this? I don't have to. So there's a change. A lot of healing could happen here, but I feel like it makes me a little nervous, but I have to make up my mind. When this opportunity comes in, I have to make up my mind if I'm going to do it, because where I'm at now, I feel like I'm lurching in the fog, and I just can never get out of this fog. I can never see what's coming next. Nobody ever lets me know what's out there. I'm just like, especially if this it says fogged in on a boat. In my opinion, if I was in the ocean and I was on a little boat, or even this boat, and it was all fog and I had no idea where I was, that would be extremely uncomfortable, and I would not like that. I personally would not like that. So somebody's saying, oh, well, here's a compass. Just keep going this direction. You'll hit land, and you'll find a different opportunity, and you can get off this boat. It's kind of like, oh, a compass. A compass to move me in a different direction, to help me stay on course so I'm not going in circles. This is interesting. Okay, so not survival, success. Don't go forward in survival. Go forward in success. Because you got the Queen of Swords showing up for you, which, don't get caught up in the gender. When this opportunity shows up, I feel like I'm having a hard time with this, because I'm balancing between survival and success. And I feel like the survival would technically make sense, but the thing is, it's an illusion. It's almost like somebody making me feel like I have to do this and I have to do that, or my survival is at risk here. For example, if it's a job situation, it's kind of like, well, I make X amount of dollars a year. If I go somewhere else, I don't think I'm going to make this. You do have options. Most people do have the option to downsize. It just may not be comfortable. It may not be ideal to begin with, but I've seen people do it, and I've seen them talk to me afterwards and tell me, like, before they did it, they were afraid of it, and they didn't think they'd like it, but they went from living in this big house to a small apartment. They thought they were going to hate it, but then when they decluttered everything and they saw all the amenities they had around them by living in this apartment, their life was 10 times better than it was with that big house. They thought that they had to have that big house. They thought that's where their happiness was. But when they downsized and sold it and went into this little apartment and got used to it, they were completely flabbergasted with how much more happy and how much more happiness came into their life by simplifying and having this connection. And also, they moved into a city, so there was much more around them. They felt like they were much more active, much more happier. The trick is to not see this as survival. The trick is to go towards what you feel is success for you. You're stronger than you know. You're strong beyond measure, is what the card actually says, but you're like going into the night, you have what it takes to make this work. If you could find a way to have that, like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to make this life what I want it to be, not what somebody else thinks I'm forced to have. I'm not going by somebody else's definition of this is what I need to do. Which also kind of that same analogy with that house. I feel like it was the social connections that person had at the time, and I think still has, I'm not sure. It seemed like having that big house was like a status symbol. So moving out of that house is almost like, it was kind of nervous, like, I'm losing my status symbol. Don't hold yourself through status. Don't hold yourself to those types of illusions. It's an illusion. It's an illusion. It really is. Like, don't hold yourself to somebody else's standards. Don't hold yourself to that tangible type of energy. Let those things change. You are still who you are. It's who you are that makes you this person. It's not what you have. It's who you are that makes you this value. Remember that going forward. So going in, there's a lot coming out of this next situation. Healing energy follows, especially if you keep coming back to that center. Not everybody has this problem, so if it hits, it hits. If it doesn't, just ignore it. But some people, especially in this world, get caught up in the tangible, and they feel like, well, this shows my value, and that shows my value. This job shows my value. This house shows my value. The way that this works out shows my value. Me being a part of this shows my value. Disconnect from that. You are a value. That stuff does not prove your value. You are your value. Whatever you become a part of, your value will come out, and you will make other situations more valuable by you being a part of them. Those things, those tangible things, the situations, those social connections, they don't create your value. Your connection and how you handle yourself and how you participate in those things, that's where your value is really seen. That's where your value really shines, and that's what people really connect to. So sometimes people get that a little backwards, and it's hard for people to see the difference. It's like these status things, that's not your value. That's not where your value comes from. There might be people who literally play into that game and believe that that's what value actually is. That is not your value. I've said this to somebody before, and I don't know if it came off right, but like this person had a lot of money, grew up with a lot of money, and then, reversal of fortunes happen sometimes, and they did not have those status symbols anymore. They did not have that cash flow anymore, and they felt like they lost their value. And I remember having this conversation with them, kind of saying, your value has not changed. Money does not create your actual value. That is not value. That is an illusion that only exists on this plane, and once it's gone, like it was never really there to begin with. It was an illusion. Who you are, how you treat people, what you do with your life, there is your value. There's where you want to invest. There's where quality can come in, and that's where you can really have the great life that you're looking for. Hopefully I said that right. I hope I did. Because I'm getting a lot more is coming your way. You got the star card coming in. Through intellect, you will search out what you want. By letting go of these things that didn't really work anyway, you'll move closer to things that you actually not only want, but actually make you feel good, which is what we want, right? You want to feel good. Who cares if you have that great house, great car, all this other great stuff, if you feel like crap? If you live in a little box house and you have a nice little modest car, but you're feeling like $1,000,000 every day, that's much more value than any of the rest of it could ever be. You know what I mean? And there's a lot coming forward for you. I see this coming in too, and I'm like, you got this, release there's a journey ahead of you. There's a journey ahead of you. There's a lot of things coming for you that are very good. I feel like there's a lot of things you can be a part of that you will very much enjoy. Let the shift happen. Let it happen to your benefit, and you'll be surprised at how much happier you are. I just keep getting that analogy of like, when I was younger, there was a couple friends who had really expensive cars, and then when they got older, they had more modest cars. And I was like, I thought that was interesting, and I remember talking to them, and they're like, I had that great car, but I had so much stress keeping up the insurance payments and paying for the car itself. It was very stressful. And now that they have more of a modest car, their insurance payments are a lot lower, and they don't stress about it. They don't have, because that used to be a thing too. They used to stress about, is their car okay? Did they park it in a place where it's safe? Where it's parked outside, is it going to be safe? They had a lot of stresses with that beautiful item, and now that they switched it over, they're so much more happy, and I thought that was interesting. These people still like cars. They still love cars, but it's one of those things where they handle things differently, and they have that upgrade emotionally. So I hope that helps. I'm going to shut this down here. Thank you very much for watching. If you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James the number 4, astral@gmail.com. If you're interested in the donation information, that's below, same email. Thank you very much again for watching. Have a great day.